Hello and welcome to Raising Champions Academy YouTube channel. I am Chini Udofia and I am the founder of the Raising Champions Academy. You're welcome to our channel. Hey, I hope you have subscribed to this channel. Yeah, I hope you have subscribed. If you have not, please just don't even, before you go on, just go on and click on the subscribe button. I need you to subscribe. Why do we need to subscribe? This is a community and I need you to build this community because we need to raise champions. Last week in my last video, I was talking about raising, why we need to raise champions. If we don't raise our children to be champions, they're going to be they're going to be late, but they're going to be relegated. So we need to raise champions. Yourself as an adult, you also need to be a champion. Yeah, so it's part of what we're going to be talking about today. So please click on the subscribe button, like, share in your community. And then please turn on your notification bell so that when next a new video comes, you will be the first to get notified. Yes, so in Raising Champions Academy, we believe that champions are not born, but champions are made. Every child has the seed of greatness in them. And that is why they have the potential to be champions. But it's not just about potential. You can have a potential that you don't use. You can have a talent that is not being used and it's not going to be useful. Okay, so last week we answered 3 questions. We say, who is a champion? What does it mean to raise a champion? And why is it important to raise champions? Now, I'm not going to go back to that because those we have answered, I answered to those questions last video. So you may need to go back and watch the last video before this one. All right. So today we want to continue on our series on raising a champion. Why do we need to raise a champion? Who is a champion? And why do we need to raise a champion? Today, I want to look at how do we raise a champion? How do we raise a champion? Okay, so I want to start by saying this, that every child has a seed of greatness in them. But like we know, a seed, if it is not planted, remains as a seed and even dies. So after a while, you keep a seed, it's not planted, it's going to lose its value. It may even rotten and die, right? So every child has a seed of greatness in them, but until we pick up that seed and plant it, it's not going to grow. So until we intentionally build them, they're not going to become champions. Yeah. So every child are going to be champions in the different fields that God has called them, in the different areas that God has proposed them to, fulfill purpose. That's the area the child is going to be a champion. So as a parent, what we need to do first of all, recognize that area of greatness. Recognize that seed of greatness. Just like you look at a seed, a mango seed, it's quite different from an orange seed. It's quite different from pear. It's quite from different kinds of fruits in the world. They are quite different by looking at the seed. So as parents, we should be able to look at our children and see the particular seed in that child. And then because even at the seed, you can't even know how the tree is going to grow. So we can't determine that. But first of all, we must recognize that there is a seed of greatness, that child is born as a champion. And then because we know that this is a seed that can grow into a great tree, we don't leave it to remain as a seed. So we pick up that child as a seed and we plant that child and we begin to let that child grow. The child begins to grow as a champion. Now, what is it that we need to do? How do we need to raise them? Number one, I want to raise a champion. I must first be a champion. Yes, you want to hear that. I must first be a champion. I must make sure I am a champion so that when my children wants to see somebody, when they look at me, they will see a champion in me. Now, children want to be able to have someone they look up to as a champion so that they also desire to be champions. So I'm going to be talking about 3 things that we need to raise a champion. Number 1 is skill. I said champions are skilled. Champions are leaders. Champions defend. So what do I mean? Now remember, when I didn't say champions are talented, right? Every one of us are talented. Every one of us has a potential. God has put in potentials in every one of us. But we can't emerge as a champion just by just by having potential. No. Until we work our potential into being skilled, we cannot, be champions. And that is what, as adults, for myself, I need to work myself into being and to be skilled so that I can do same for my children. So number one, for our children to be champions, we need to get them skilled up. We need to skill them up. Our children need to be skilled. Now, I get last video, sorry, I gave example of people in a sporting competition. Now, they both have the talent to play football. For example, football. They both have the talent to play football. But one person knew something above the other. Maybe they both knew it, but one person applied that knowledge quickly before the other person. So there must be something ahead. So for our children to be champions, there must be that skill. We must skill them up. They need to know what to do part time. They need to transform their potential into values, into something they can give out, something they can use, something that can be used to affect their world. They need to be able to use it and use it at the right time and at the right place. Yes. And secondly, I said champions are leaders. And who are leaders? Leaders are ahead. So for our children to be ahead, our children needs to know what they need to have a knowledge. They needs to know what they need to know what to do so that they can be ahead. Now for that champion in that league, in that football league, there was something he knew and he was able to do it even before others that knew were able to do theirs, right? So champions are leaders. And one way to know something, one way to have a knowledge of things is by reading. Yes, we want to raise champions. We will raise children that read about everything that they need to know about their career. And thirdly, champions defend. Champions defend. Champions stand up for themselves. Champions are not cowards. Champions don't just sit and like, oh, should I say, should I not say? No. So we need to raise our children to be able to stand up for themselves. To be able to have a voice. And I want to say this, for our children, our champions to have a voice out there, we need to give them a voice in-house. We need to make sure they have a voice when they speak to us. Give them a voice from inside so that when they go out, they will be able to stand and speak for themselves and even for others. So I said champions are skilled. Champions are leaders. Champions can defend. Our children should be able to be skilled. They should know what to do and they should know what to do at the right time. They should be able to move their potential into, values, to be able, not just that, oh, I have the potential to play football, but how can I apply the knowledge? How can I apply what I know? And then secondly, they are leaders. How can they be ahead of others? They need to know something. They need to know what others don't know. And even if everybody know it, they need to know the right time to use it and when not to use it. And then thirdly, champions defend. Our children should be able to stand for themselves and defend themselves when the time comes. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much till I come your way. But please don't forget, subscribe to this channel, like, share, and also turn on your notification button. Please subscribe to Raising Champions Academy. It doesn't take, what does it take to subscribe? Just to click on the subscribe button, right? So please go ahead. Make sure you click on that button. Yes, and turn on your notification bell. So when next we have another video, we have a new video, you're going to be first to be notified. And yes, we are here to raise champions. We have come and we have come. Yes, so we need you to come and raise these champions together. Like I said, I alone cannot raise champions. I need you and you need me. And together, we're going to make the world a better place. Thank you so much. I am Chini Udofia. Till I come your way next time, God bless you.